to blend in Illustrator. We can go to Object, and you've got the options here of blend, all the various make, release, etc. And you've also got a blend tool. Here's the blend tool. They're the two ways of blending paths. And you can blend all kinds of paths in Illustrator. So let's just go back to a very basic design, a rectangle. Key thing, you need 2 paths at least. You can work with 3, 4, 5, 10 paths. I'm just going to quickly create another path. They can be the same colour, they can be different colours, they can be different shapes as well. They don't have to be the same at all. So I've got this design here and that. You don't need to select them. You can, if you want to, use the blend tool. Simply just go to the blend tool and click this and click that. And you will create a blend between the 2 shapes. So you've got the blend between the 2 shapes, but you can still modify. At every point with blends, it's still live. You can always change it at any point. Just simply go over to the tool, blend tool here, or go up to the object and blend, and you can modify the settings. So I'm just going to double click there to bring up the options. And you can see here, smooth color, specified steps and specified distance. They're the 3 options you've got for the spacing. Now, obviously it doesn't matter when you've got red all the way through to red, smooth color, no issue there. Go to specified steps and you can say like 4 or 3. So 3. So you've got 3 there. You can see what happens. You've got 3 steps in between. And what happens? The size will change. Obviously, if one was bigger and the other one is smaller, it will blend the size. It will blend angles, it will blend colours, etc. It will try and blend between them. It will blend even points. So that's useful as well. Also, you've got orientation, though that's to the page and that's to the path. Now, that's more important later. So that's one thing. Also, of course, again, press return or double click. You can do specified distance as well. So here it's got 4 points and you can turn around and say, I want 5 points, 6, whatever. And you can see what happens. It just basically makes it. And of course, you get less and less paths in between. So if you've got 38, 40, you're just going to have a lot less paths because it doesn't space it out the other way. It doesn't sort of stretch it, make the other paths all move out. So you'll definitely get less paths. And you've got a preview on there so you can see it, which is super useful. Click OK once you're happy with that. Now, a key thing here, and later I will go through with this, is the spine. You can see a spine between there. Whenever you do a blend, there's always this spine. And that's that point to that. And that's the key thing for the distances, everything. That is the key. So let's just go and select something else. And I'm going to go for an ellipse tool, say. And I'm going to change the colour this time. So I'm going to go for a different colour. And you can change like the stroke as well. I'm going to go with black, but I'm just going to change the size. So it can blend between the size as well. So again, go over here and blend tool, click and click there. However, before I do that, I want to change the colour of that one. So let's just go to blue. So click there and it will blend. Now you can see what happens. You've got the stroke that's been added. So you can see the stroke. Makes it a bit harder to see. You can still, if you don't want the stroke, you can always remove the stroke and just remove that. Both. Now, if that one's got a stroke and this one hasn't, you can see what happens. It just ignores it. It can't blend between a non-stroke and a stroke. It will just ignore it. It's a simple thing. It doesn't add a stroke to the other side. And you see you've got a nice smooth red all the way through blue. That's the default when it's got colours. So press return again, smooth colour, and it does a very nice job. I mean, you can see slight imperfections there. It's not 100% smooth if you really zoom in. However, what you can do, you can go here, specified steps, and you can see it's 254. So there's a lot of, so we're going to put that down to a few less than that, say 30. So you can change it and you can see what happens. You get a slightly more sort of rough sort of look between the two. And again, if you put it down to 15, you can see what happens then. You've got a bit more space in between the two. And you've got the colour going from red all the way through to that blue. And again, you've got distance as well. You can do the same if you want. So 4 point, you can change that, increase it. And as you do that, you'll see the paths come in there. See more and more of them. click OK. And again, at any point, you can always go to Object and Blend and do exactly the same. So blend options, got blend options there. Do exactly the same there. You can increase that still or modify the settings there, make it 10. But what you can also do, you can change other settings as well. So you've got this blend, it's alive, it's always alive until you expand. That's the key thing. So you've got this design, you can go to the direct selection tool and say, I don't want blue. Decided I don't want blue. Obviously I'm happy with blue, but I can change it. I can go, oh, I want green. And see what happens. It doesn't change the other side. So that one is still written. You can still see the stroke around it. It doesn't remove that. But it goes all the way through to green. And you can change it to orange or black and so on and so on. So you can always keep changing it. Now, if you go for a gradient, you can do it. It will make a passable go through for a red colour here all the way through to gradients. The gradients you can blend as well. Super useful feature. And again, you can change the gradients there. You can see create a nice. So you can just run through these different designs. See there. Now, if you go for pattern, not so effective, though it does attempt to. No, it doesn't particularly work for every single circumstance, but it's very effective. See, now this is direct selection tool. Direct selection tool. Here, you can manipulate the points. See, it's still live. Even the points are live. So if you decide, click there, click that point, what you can do, you can move that. And that will then attempt to blend between that circle all the way over to here. And you can modify that as well. But you can also go to this one and say, you know what, I don't want it to be a circle. I can manipulate that point there. And that will change. And if I just drag that out, you can see what happens. It drags that point all the way through to that shape. So it's a nice blend between with this shape. And you can obviously modify this in numerous ways. Create all kinds of different designs and it's all still live. And you can always then go and change, you know what, don't want that. I can go for blue or whatever and it will go blue all the way through to green. I'm just going to select that and remove that. And again, go back to a very basic shape, that shape there, and I'm just going to remove the stroke. The stroke is good. Actually, let's just do it without a stroke. So you can actually do it without a stroke as well. Well, with a stroke, but no fill. So just set that, and I'm going to go for, say, 8. And I'm going to create another one over here, and not 8. I'm going to go for 20. Or maybe go for less. Actually, probably be less. It's better. So again, blend tool, go over to blend tool, click here, click over here, and you can see you can blend between those and it will go for the, obviously the width will decrease all the way through to the size that you've got over there. And of course you can always change it. So again, you can always go to this over here, and this is the key thing, direct selection tool, change the direct selection tool, change that setting, and you can change the color, maybe go to the blend, modify that, say, you know, I want red. And you can see then it will create red. Now it changes the blend there. So again, if you want to there, double click, bring up that specified steps, and you can always change it. So put it back to 10 or whatever, and you can see your design there. Now go back to direct selection tool, and you can still continue to modify that design and create all kinds of weird and wonderful combinations, and again, still editable at any point. Let's just remove that. Go back to a circle and set a color there. Set no stroke. Now I'm just going to create another shape. So show you can combine different shapes. So let's just go for something different. Polygon tool. Polygon tool. So just create polygon and different color there. And again, blend tool. Click there and there. And it will blend between circle and the polygon. Again, press return. Oops, wrong one. That does help. Okay, yeah, the gradient tool is not. It's not going to be very helpful. So if we go there, specified steps. Again, you can put that to 10, and you can see what happens. It goes from circle all the way through to the polygon. And again, you've got this. Now, if you do these sort of things, sometimes it will help. Depends on the shape and design. Let's just try and get one show example there. I don't want those. Rectangle tool. Let's just make a shape there and slightly rotate it. So I've got a design there. Now go to the blend tool again, select there and select there, and you can see the design go there. Now press return and then change that. Well, one's for the page, one's for the path. And as the path is basically still aligned exactly to the thing. Now, if I click OK and I go over here and I just move this spine. Now, this spine is key. So what I can do, I can move, just select that. Just select the spine. Move that around. So as I do that, if I go over there and I make it a bit more, let's just add a point. Let's just go and add a point to that spine. So go for curvature tool. I always love the curvature tool. Just add a point. Let's just add a point there. That's the easiest way. Got to demonstrate that feature for you. Again, blend tool, press turn. If I change that, you can see it does change. That's all I wanted to do with that. I just wanted to show the orientation does change in terms of the path as well as the page being the whole document you're seeing there. Okay. Now let's remove those and again go back to a standard path like that. Now there's other things you can do with this. You've got blend tool. I'm just going to click between those two. Got that design there. Now I can change it, as I said, change the color. You've also got other properties here. So you go over here. This is with the rectangle tool. You can just see, just modify that. If you change that, that's still live. And that will change there as well. So you can just change that and that will change, modify the different. And of course, there's other settings for the corners as well, which is just modify it there as well. Just wanted to point that out, that you can modify those. Also, let's get on to the next thing, which is probably a pretty key thing, the spine. The spine all the way through that. So object and down to blend and also probably the options here. So let's just do release. Release is not really super useful unless you really want just to remove it. Simply it just puts it back to what it was. That's it. Still got the spine there. However, it's not particularly a blend anymore. You go object and blend and make. You got back to thing again. Object and blend. And you've got blend options, exactly the same as before with all the distance, etc. You've also got expand. So if you want to expand, and that just breaks it out, breaks it apart. Now they're all separate paths. However, always go to object and ungroup afterwards, most cases, and just you can then break it apart like that. So you've got all your shapes and they've all been things. So if you want to have that design all the way through to there, but you want all these separate bits, but you don't want them in the way that it's designed, because there's no scattering, there's no sort of way of manipulating particularly sort of some of the other settings in between in the blend. So it's probably nice to actually be able to break it apart as well. Now I'm just going to put those back together again. So I've got the spine, object, and again, let's just change the color. That's going to be more useful. So I've got that design there, change the color. So go to red so you can see. Now it always changes that because I've changed the color and it's slightly odd. Don't know why. Oops, don't know why it does that. Does help to always click the right icon. Times I do that, I probably lose. I will be a rich person if times I've clicked the wrong icon. However, 20. Click OK. With the spine and this, I'm just going to go with here. Now go to object and blend and reverse spine. So what you can see goes red to the blue there, just reverses it, which is quite handy if you want the colours just change around. Object, blend and reverse spine, put it back to what it was before. Now also you've got here object and blend and reverse front to back. That just changes the order, the stacking order as it says. Must admit, very rarely ever use that. So with the spine, what can you do with the spine? Well, you can manipulate the spine if it actually appears. So direct selection tool, let's just see, there's the spine. Most of the time you'll see the spine when you've got the blend tool. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. So, but I'm just going over here, the direct selection tool, you can definitely determine there's the spine. So there's the spine. So I can move that spine, and as I move it, see what happens? Just moves it up or down or across. Also what you can do, you can crunch it closer to the design there. Obviously the settings haven't been changed, so obviously it's going to be a bit smoother. So as you push it further and closer or further away, it will change. So you can make it really crunched up there. So you can make now a nice design where it's on top. You can move it out that way or round that way. You can get a variety of different designs simply just by moving that around, moving the spine. Just need to select the spine, not the rest of the part. You can see you can get different designs that way. And go to the other spine as well. You can move that one as well. But so what you can also do is you can add points to it. Add anchor points. So add anchor points, and I'm just going to add an anchor point there. Add an anchor point there. If I do it right. Sometimes it goes when you've got a blue line against a blue, never always that easy to see it sometimes. And quite often you look at it and think, is there a line there? It does actually say path. Good. So I can click and add some anchor points there. So once you've done that, I'm just going to use, well, actually I'm just going to go for this one. Use curvature tool, just as good, or I can go over those points and you can see what happens. This is standard with the curvature tool. You can then manipulate that point. You can simply move it. And now what happens? The spine will move. I can double click that and it will turn into a curve. Double click that one, of course you've got just a sharp point there. Double click it and it will end up being a curve. And that's using the curvature tool. Curvature tool, great feature of Illustrator. And also you can continue to add some points. So you've got this design now, I've got this point there, point there, point there, point there, etc. Now you can see the line is continued on, just as you would when you use the curvature tool normally. It just adds additional points and you can then add additional points. And as you do that, of course, it's spaced out. It doesn't change the number of points. So if you've got like 10, change number of points, number of paths, you got 10, it doesn't suddenly think, you know what, I want 12 or 15. Depends on the setting, of course. So let's just quickly go over here. Again, press return there. Specified steps, 30, 20. Specified distance, say 4, 12 or 50. You can change it and you can see you can modify those settings again. I'm just going to go for smooth colour, just as good as anything. Now you've got that there and I can still hopefully continue to modify that. And I'm just going to go curvature tool again, and continue on with that curve and it will maintain that nice smooth curve. Hopefully, though it's always slight. Maybe it's my monitor. So you can see once you've done that, of course, what you can always do again, you can always click any of those points and you can then move this design. You can move that there, you can move that there, and so on and so on. It's still always alive. I'm just going to remove those because it's just makes it hard to see the actual, but you can see all those points which you can manipulate. That's the key thing. Again, direct selection tool, you can just go back there and you can select individually and modify that and modify the handles. So you can just change that as well. Now, blue against blue again always makes it very tricky. So you can create all kinds of common, and then you can just use that as well. The path, drag that out. You can see you can distort it in all kinds of ways. However, well and good, distorting it, moving it around, changing all this distance. What you can also do is you can go over here, and I'm just going to use, for a very basic example, line segment tool. So I'm just going to create another path, not connected at all with that blend. However, what you can do, you've got that, and you can select that. So you select that line that I've just created, also the spine there. Got that spine there. So what you can then do is go to Object and Blend, and you can replace spine, which is actually very useful, I think. I mean, obviously I could turn it into a line, straight line. Take a while, but I could do it. But replace spine, and you can see what you've got now. You've got a spine there. And again, you can change this, move that, and still go back again up to here to the direct selection tool and click there, and there you can see you've got that straight line which you can then manipulate, design and create all kinds of different designs with that. Let's just go there and move that design now. Well, what you can also do, obviously you can use other shapes, so Startle, so select Startle and select star over there, and I'm going to go with, say, there, just turn that to green, and then I can blend between the two. Again, don't have to select them, you can just do it without. Blend tool, click there, and you can see you can blend nicely between stars. You can also use other shapes as well. Maybe flare tool probably is pushing it. Polygon tool, of course, ellipse, etc. You can also use with type. Type is super useful. So say you've got some type here. So just go to the type tool and set some type. And I'm going to create lorem ipsum. Good old lorem ipsum. That design. And I'm just going to create another one. So duplicate, hold down the Alt or Option key, duplicate that design. So I've got two. I'm going to change the font as well. So I've got a different font. It's not exactly the same. Doesn't particularly matter. You can change the color. So let's just go for, say, green. And again, don't have to select them. Simply go to the blend tool, click there, and you can see what happens. Goes. Now, sometimes it makes a real hash, I would have to say. Sometimes it really looks terrible. When it tries to blend between certain typefaces, it just doesn't. If you decide, you know what, I don't want lorem ipsum, because you can always just go to the type tool, just go up here to the type tool, and you can say, you know what, I just want to say, as soon as you start changing things, you can see what happens. It ends up making a real sort of fine. I mean, it's not, that's, you know, it's, but you're pushing it to the point where it just can't blend particularly brilliantly. I mean, it does a blend, but it's not really, unless you want to distress sort of, and actually that is a useful feature, I guess, in the sense that you can then go to object again, exactly, for object, blend, and you can expand. So you can expand the design, again, object and ungroup, and you've got some lovely, if you want, nicely distressed text. Other than the M, for some reason, the M seems to have got through reasonably okay. Likewise, the L as well. But in between, a bit of a sort of messy sort of design there, but useful. So you can use text as well. Super useful for lots of zoom designs. So if you want to create a zoom design, simply just go for this, just text, create that, maybe make it like that, and then maybe Alt or Option, duplicate, and then reduce it down. And then maybe change the color. Again, blend between that. So click there and there. You got that. And again, change exactly the same things before. Press return, and you can change smooth color. Okay. Specified steps. So you can put 300. And you can get a real nice zoom effect. And again, it's still editable. So if you decide to go and change things, so go to the direct selection tool, and you've got the spine. So this spine, you can move it around. So the text can zoom off in that direction, zoom off in that direction, zoom off that direction. And again, you can always change the text if you want, change the font, all those things. It's all still alive. And you can go down to that spine there and move that. Or if you want, go and add a point. So just again, add anchor point and just go hover over there, click there, and then just go up to direct selection tool or whatever, and just move it. So you can move it up and down like that. So you can create a variety of different designs, some better than others. However, let's just remove those, because another thing you can do, I've just been using two, but you can use more than two. So just go here to, and I'm going to use very basic shapes, but you can use any shapes. And let's just go for red. Let's just go for another one. I'm going to go for green or bluish, turquoise, I should say. Create another one. And they can be any position, of course, and they could be any shape. Oh, don't want that. Don't want that. So I just want this color. And create another one. And just going to go for down here for brown. Okay, so I've got my design there. What I can do with the blend tool again, click there, click there and click there. And you can see what happens. It just goes between, so you can create maybe have 30 shapes, 30 shapes on this. And then you can again still manipulate the design. You can go to direct selection tool. Also, you can manipulate these. So you've got here, you've got your properties, so you can modify those if you want. Quite nice smooth designs there. You can also again go with direct selection tool, click there, move that around there. Maybe decide, oh, I don't want it that way. Or maybe again, go for add a couple of points there. Again, go for direct selection and just drag that out. And you can see you can end up with all kinds of different designs using this feature. Again, you've got object, got down to here to blend. You've got reverse spine, so you can just reverse spine. You can see what happens. It gets the other way around, or undo again, etc. And that's it for the blend tool. I mean, obviously there's a lot more features and things you can do with it. Certain combinations of more than just these. So you can create your own shapes, of course, create curvature tool design, so you can quickly create a nice curved design. And actually that's quite a nice one to do. So again, got a nice design there. You've got here, let's just put a width, and I'm just going to go for, say, always when I always turn around and say, that's about it. Suddenly I think of a few more things. So it's always the thing. And also again, create another one, escape, just going to create another design over here, and you can see create design there. And again, go for say 16, and let's just give it another design there. And again, let's just do it. We'll change color. Let's just change the color of the stroke, because let's just, so it makes it a bit more. Then go down to the blend tool again, click there and click there. And you can see, okay, that's not the world's greatest blend between it, but press return again, you've got smooth color. Really? Is that a smooth color? Does always occasionally baffle me why sometimes it does process it in a weird way, because I don't consider that smooth. But however, specified steps is always the workaround. So you can always put, say, 200. And then you can see what happens. You end up with a nice design like that. Or maybe you want to go for specified distance. You can always then decrease that or increase it. So go for that. Now, of course, the more you have, I'm certain that the slower things will be. But again, you've got exactly the same thing where you can go over to direct selection tool. And it's just a point there. You can just select that, modify that point, maybe use curvature tool to just go over there. And you can manipulate that. Just go there, just drag that out. Maybe add some more points. You can see you can create all kinds of different combinations. Now it might get sometimes interesting, and sometimes I just do not know what's going to happen. You look at it and think, is it going to fold over there or is it not? And so on and so on. So just create, and you can always undo, of course. If you decide you don't want that, then you can always remove it. And of course you can always maybe save that to your symbols library, or maybe save it to the library, use it in Photoshop. You can always add it. And also there's still other options as well. You've got styles. I would not say that it's going to be a good idea for me to select that, because it'll probably be very slow processing it. But you can also, another thing you can do, which I haven't done yet, is you can manipulate this. So you can just change that, just change the size. You can also rotate. So let's just rotate it. You can see it's slower. Just takes a few seconds longer to process, but you can rotate it, manipulate that. So there's a whole range of things, and obviously object transform, you can reflect, etc. Transform it, well, there's a whole, and also of course you can also apply effects if you want. Again, that will be perhaps a bit slower, but again, because you've got a lot of paths there. So let's just, before I do anything like that, just go back to there, press return. Don't want that one, I want that one. Let's just go for not specified distance, specified steps. Let's go for 5 or 6, because that's just too many. So you can see a nice sort of tangled line in between. But I wanted to show you can apply effects. So simply just go to effects, and you've got, why not, offset path. You can see what happens with offset path, say 20 or 30, and you can see you get some interesting designs. See, that one's not, but this one is, and you can change those, or maybe go for effect and blur, Gaussian blur. Not so good, unfortunately. But certain things, maybe go for effects. Let's just go for distort and transform. That's what I was looking for. maybe roughen. Let's go for roughen, and you see what happens with roughen. So you've got the roughen there, and that blends between the two, because you go over here to the, obviously the second one, that isn't touched by the roughen, but all the ones in between, it just blends between the roughen effect all the way over to the smooth design. Undo that. Also, what you can do, direct selection tool, let's just select that one again. Or maybe go that one selection there. Always a useful thing, you can always go to window and properties. You got properties there. So select that design there, and you've got here opacity. Maybe go for 32. Obviously that will change all of them. However, you go direct selection tool, make certain you're just selecting that. You can go to opacity and then reduce the opacity, so down to 8%. So that's obviously that's very, very, virtually disappeared. But that one over the other side is still, so it goes between, so whatever it is, 8%. So that next one is 12%, 15%, whatever. And again, if you expanded it, I could see what, but you also, what you can do, you can always change here. So just put that back again. You can always go here to width profiles. You can change all these things, can be changed there. And also what you've got other tools as well. You can go to width tool. So go to the width tool with that one selected. That's the only one selected. The red one is not selected. So I'm modifying this one, and I can change that, and as I do that, all the rest will blend in between to that one. So you can just change things, modify things, just resize that maybe again, and so on and so on. So a variety of different designs. And of course you can change the colour again, still blue, whatever, between the two. And there's other stroke options, of course. So you've got stroke options, got there, dashed lines. What happens, it goes dashed lines and tries to make a, well, all the way through to one that's obviously not got a dash. It's gone from there. You can see it just changes, so it's a bit closer, crunched in, and then obviously fully there. And of course, many, many, many more things you can do with this. So that's a run through of the blend tool, a basic guide to the blend tool. There is literally, you can create zillions and zillions and zillions of designs with the blend tool. It is really super useful feature, and I probably have completely missed loads of people. Please put in the comments below anything you think, what, you didn't talk about this or that. Please let me know, because there's always things that are always missed. And I think I've covered a fair amount about blend tool. Hope you found this of interest. A dislike or like is always appreciated. It's always great. Like I say, a comment, always wonderful as well. It's any sort of things that I thought, I did it wrong. That's always a good thing as well. Maybe you should turn around and say, please, you didn't do that right, or you didn't explain it well. Please put that in the comments. It's always great. Thank you much.